So one funny Christmas story that I have is I used to really love going to visit my grandparents at the holidays, especially at New Year and Christmas time. And on our way there, we were able to buy a lot of fireworks. In Illinois, unfortunately, we're not allowed to shoot off fireworks at any time during the year. But because my grandparents live in a different state, and especially because they live in the countryside, where there's absolutely no one for miles around, it's a very convenient place to go and shoot off fireworks. So one night, my grandfather and I were outside having a campfire. It wasn't very cold, considering that it was New Year time. And we had a big bag of rockets, of just small rockets. We called them bottle rockets because you can put them in a glass bottle or in a tin can and fire them off. And they go off maybe a few, 100 feet into the air and make a big bang, yeah? But considering that they were fairly small, and because I was maybe 12 or 13 at that time, I wanted to have even more fun with them. So naturally, more fun equaled more dangerous in that case. So I figured out a way, with my grandfather's encouragement, to tie the fuses together, to shoot off several of these bottle rockets at a time. And at first we did this safely. We had a metal tube, and we stuck this metal tube in the ground, and we would twist several of these rockets together by their fuses, and then put them down this tube, and then try to light all of the fuses at the same time, being twisted together. It was fairly easy to do. But knowing me and my maybe foolish spirit back then, I said, what if we hold this tube in our hands, yeah? And it'll be so much more fun, so much cooler to hold on to this tube. Well, this tube was not very long. But my grandfather thought they're very small rockets. If we shoot only maybe one of them out of the tube at a time, it'll be okay. So we tried firing one at a time while holding it. And it was fun. It was really cool. But it wasn't fun enough. So we got bored with it after a few minutes, and we thought, well, they're so small and they're not very dangerous. Let's twist several of these rockets together. So we twisted them together, and then he was holding this tube because he wouldn't allow me to do it because he thought it was too dangerous. But he said, it's okay, you can light the rockets for me. So he was holding this tube out as far as he possibly could, closing his eyes, trying to turn away, and everything was fine. Until I asked him, hey, Grandpa, what if we how many do you think we can put in this tube? How many can we get in there? How about 10? How about 12? And the final number was, how about 15? So we had 15 rockets very strangely twisted together. But when we lit off this big number, we didn't realize how much fire would be created by these fuses. So we lit it, and the fuses ended up all going off at different times. There were hot fuses out of the ends of these rockets flying everywhere. And here's my grandfather in this moment, trying to turn away, trying to keep his eyes shut. And there was smoke and flames everywhere. And at that point, I was just in shock after it was over. Rockets flying every direction, exploding on the ground, halfway in the air, some lit fuses still on my grandfather's clothing. And all that we could think of was, oh no, we blinded him. But luckily, he's a really tough and lucky man. And his clothes were burnt or singed in some spots. Even the hair on his eyebrows was a little bit gone. But everything turned out to be okay. Except for my hysterical grandmother, maybe, when we ran in the house to get water, to make sure his eyes were okay, to get some medicine, to look in the mirror, to see how bad it was. But luckily, it was okay. Just please do not try what I tried. Don't do what I did. So that's my funniest or scariest New Year's story. I think that the scariest thing I've ever experienced. But afterwards, also the funniest.